You're standing at the edge of a balcony, 12 stories up, perfectly safe behind the railing, and then for one split second, your mind whispers, "Jump. You don't want to die." You know that. But the thought came anyway, uninvited, sharp as a blade. That isn't a flaw in your wiring. That is your wiring doing exactly what it was built to do. This video is going to give you two things. A real explanation for why that moment happens, not the surface version, but the deep mechanical truth underneath it, and a way to stop being afraid of your own mind when it does. Because the most unsettling part of this experience isn't the height. It's the fact that you don't fully trust yourself afterward, and that distrust is costing you something. Stay with this until the end. The part that will genuinely shift how you see yourself is coming, and it doesn't arrive until the final stretch. This is ancestral mind, where the strange things your body does turn out to be ancient things your body remembers. Here is what people get wrong about this. They call it a death wish. They call it a dark impulse, a sign that something is broken deep down, a symptom of depression, suicidal ideation, psychological fragility. Therapists who don't know the research sometimes treat it as a red flag. Strangers on the internet call it creepy. You yourself might have quietly wondered whether the thought means something terrible about who you are. It doesn't. The people labeling this as dangerous have it completely backwards. The thought is not the problem. The thought is the solution to a problem that appeared before you even registered the height. The French have a phrase for it, l'appel du vide, the call of the void. Researchers in the United States started taking it seriously after a 2012 study led by Jennifer Hames at Florida State University. She and her team spent years working with people who experience intrusive thoughts, the kind that arrive without invitation and feel completely alien to your actual intentions. What they found was unexpected enough that it reframed the entire conversation. The people most likely to experience the call of the void were not the ones with suicidal ideation. They were actually the people with the strongest will to live. The thought, it turns out, is a signal not of wanting to fall, but of the brain recognizing with absolute certainty that falling would be catastrophic. The technical term is a high rescue factor intrusive thought. Your brain isn't whispering, "Jump." It's screaming, "Do not fall." And the word jump is just the shape that warning takes when it crosses into conscious language. Now here is where it gets interesting, because this is not a modern glitch. This is a mechanism that predates cities, predates language, predates almost everything we think of as human civilization. Truth 1. Your brain runs two separate threat detection systems, and they do not move at the same speed. The first system is your amygdala, a small, almond-shaped cluster of neurons buried deep in the brain's ancient core. Think of it as a smoke detector that never sleeps. It doesn't wait for confirmation. It fires the moment it detects a pattern that matches danger, and it fires fast within milliseconds. When you step close to an edge, the amygdala doesn't calculate your distance from the railing or assess the structural integrity of the balcony floor. It sees height, it sees open air below you, and it sends a full-body emergency signal before your conscious mind has even registered that you moved. Your muscles tighten, your stomach drops. Your hands grip whatever is nearest. That reaction happens before thought. The second system is your prefrontal cortex, the slow, deliberate, reasoning part of your brain that sits right behind your forehead. It's the part that eventually tells you, you're fine, the railing is solid, you're not in danger. But it takes longer. It needs a moment to process. And in that gap between the amygdala's alarm and the prefrontal cortex's reassurance, the call of the void lives. Truth 2. The intrusive thought is not an impulse. It is a counter signal. Your amygdala fires the alarm, danger, edge, height, fall. Your prefrontal cortex, trying to understand what the alarm is actually about, generates the worst-case scenario in vivid detail as a way of testing the threat. It essentially asks, what would happen if? And that question, rendered in the brain's native language of imagery and sensation, arrives in your conscious experience as jump. It is your slow brain catching up to your fast brain's warning. The thought is the brain's way of making the danger real enough to respect. Imagine a medieval guard who sees smoke on the horizon and immediately rings the bell. A second guard, further back, hears the bell and draws a map of where the fire could spread, not because he wants the fire, but because understanding the shape of the threat is how you contain it. You are the second guard. The map is the thought. Truth 3. This mechanism saved your ancestors' lives for hundreds of thousands of years. Before guardrails existed, before OSHA, before any of the engineered safety of the modern world, height was among the most statistically lethal threats a human being could face. A fall from a cliff, a tree, a rocky outcrop, it didn't offer second chances. The humans who survived were the ones whose brains were fastest to generate a visceral, almost physical sense of, this could end you. The ones whose amygdalas fired hardest. The ones who felt the pull of the void most intensely and recoiled from it most forcefully. That sensation was not a malfunction. It was a competitive advantage. Your brain is running software that was optimized over roughly 3,000,000 years of human history in environments where that software was the difference between your lineage continuing and it ending on a rock face somewhere in the Pleistocene. Here is what changed and what it's costing you now. Modern humans spend an enormous amount of time at heights that our ancestors simply never encountered. Office buildings, apartment balconies, glass-walled observation decks, airplane windows. The brain's ancient threat detection hardware was calibrated for a world where the edge of a cliff meant genuine, immediate mortal danger. It was not calibrated for a world where you're on the 14th floor of a building with triple-pane glass and reinforced concrete between you and the air. The alarm still fires. The counter signal still generates. But now, instead of serving its original function, which was to make you back away fast, it arrives in a context where you're already safe, and it just sits there in your conscious mind, strange and disturbing, with nowhere to go. The cost of not understanding this is real. People avoid heights unnecessarily. They feel ashamed of a thought that is actually evidence of a healthy, functioning brain. They carry a quiet suspicion about themselves that erodes confidence in ways that have nothing to do with heights at all. So here is how you work with this, not against it. Step 1. Name the mechanism out loud, even in your head. When the thought arrives, say, that is my amygdala firing a height alarm. That is my prefrontal cortex rendering the threat in language. I am the guard drawing the map. This is not a wish. It is a warning. Naming it activates the prefrontal cortex more fully and shortens the lag between the alarm and the reassurance. Neuroscientists call this affect labeling. The act of naming an emotional or threat response reduces its physiological intensity. You are literally turning down the volume on the alarm by identifying the source. Step 2. Let the thought complete without fighting it. This is counterintuitive, but it's grounded in how intrusive thoughts actually work. The more you resist the thought, push it away, panic at its presence, the more your brain interprets that resistance as confirmation that the thought is dangerous, which prolongs it. Instead, let the image arise, let it pass, and redirect attention to the physical evidence of safety. The railing under your hands, the solid floor beneath your feet, the distance between you and the edge. You are rerouting the signal. You are giving the slow brain the sensory data it needs to close the loop. Step 3. Reframe the sensation of the void as biological loyalty. Your brain generated that thought because it values your survival enough to simulate the worst possible outcome. That is not betrayal. That is devotion. The more intensely you felt it, the more urgently your ancient brain was trying to keep you alive. Every time you step back from the edge, you are completing the circuit your ancestors built. You are doing exactly what 3,000,000 years of human survival required. The thought you were ashamed of is a guard who has been protecting you since before your great-great-grandparents were born. It doesn't know about elevator safety certifications or building codes. It only knows you matter, falling kills, back away. It fires the alarm the only way it knows how. And you, standing there, gripping the railing with your heart pounding, are not broken. You are not dark. You are not fragile. You are precisely calibrated for a world with real edges and real consequences. The world got safer. Your brain stayed loyal. That loyalty just speaks in a language that sounds frightening until you learn to read it, not broken. Remembering, when was the last time your body reacted like the danger was real but there was none? Leave it in the comments. And if this is the kind of thing you want to understand about yourself, the ancient machinery underneath the modern anxiety, this channel exists for exactly that.